Oh geez, black bear. Trying to think of where we stand against a black bear power-wise. I'm going to switch to my sling. Deals a bit more damage. Oh, and a great timing on the paralysis from Iskaya, so never mind all of my worry and concern there. The main issue with bears, of course, being that they will go berserk at the tail end of their health pool, which when you're on a low health species of any kind, you don't want berserked enemies hitting you. They definitely smash pretty hard. Hello again, Failthink. Hope your nap went well. Jeez Louise, we're getting a bit surrounded by quick animals here, so no point in running away, seeing as how they'll just run us down on the journey. But there we go. Managing to see a decent number of fights with that Iskaya popping off. It actually happens faster than I expected. I thought fights would have to be a bit more prolonged to gain those special deity effects. Nap succeeded. Good to hear. Love to hear it. But okie dokie. As for a run here, I think it's about time that we get to identifying a few more of our items, making sure we have all the tools at our disposal that we'd like to have. So I'll try both the necklace and the ring, which are amazing finds. A ring of poison resistance will get us through the middle part of the game nicely here. And a Spirit Guardian necklace is essentially just an extra 9 health here. They regenerate on a separate timer than our health as well, which is a solid little bonus. But okay. I guess that's that. And so let's head back upstairs. Before we get too far into the dungeon here, we need to head back to all of the floors that we left partially done, partially explored due to the ridiculous struggles that we faced in the early game. So it's starting on D3 here. Wow, we had an orc pack like this on D3. That doesn't seem super fair. I mean, at this stage in the game, this is the type of fight that we should be running into, you know? But hey, that's why we left this floor alone, because the whole thing was just a ridiculous array of chaos and panic the whole time. Including Robin here, who, even with the mighted hobgoblins, we can hopefully shred. It's always a chance of being overwhelmed by sheer numbers there with the mighted goblins, but not too shabby. So we can finally take the helmet off of Robin here as well. Would you look at that? Fancy helmet for a fancy halfling boy here. Finish off the rest of the floor as well, and then we'll also, yeah, head up to D2 because we were chased off by a nasty null pack up there. Speaking of null packs, hello friends. Let's maybe switch to our stone slinger for now. There we go. Not too shabby. And we still, null packs, again, are something that we should be able to fight, but I am a wee bit scared of. Put myself in a bad situation there, taking 3 potential hits each turn from the null buddies, but hey, I had a bit more faith in Hal at this stage, coming across them. Maybe too much, some would argue, but if it worked, then it worked, and I guess that's all that really matters at the end of the day here. We'll finish off our D2. Jeez. 2 separate null packs on D2, with 5 out of the 6 gnolls carrying spears. That is rough stuff. Absolutely ridiculous RNG. But hey, coming back at this stage, not quite as bad here. Was that even, that was a +6 spear? Oh, I should have been paying more attention. Jesus. So yeah, I'm back on the train of that's a ridiculous amount of enemies and power level to find on D2. Just completely absurd game. Hal really was dealing with some crazy crap right off the bat here. Some ridiculous shenanigans. Nothing Hal couldn't handle, says Safid, and you're right about that. At the end of the day, guess you got a point. And wow, would you look at that? There's even a little gold vault on D2. And we just won't bother with those little buddies, and there we go, finally. Through the backlog of floors that we had to skip along the way. Feeling clear, feeling, less congested overall, ready for our ascension with the orb later in the run. Not too bad. And let's maybe take this as an opportunity to peek in on our skills, as I've been neglecting them in my usual fashion here. Short blades is still coming down decently. How high does that even have to go for daggers? Only for 10. Huh. Probably do that for now, and let's just cap it off there, and that way we can start diverting experience a wee bit right off the bat. Slings, I think I'll keep going up until 12 as well. But in general, what I was thinking of is defensive abilities. Oh, right, and invocations is important on Uskaya. That's good to know. Or at least play some role. I guess I shouldn't necessarily state their importance, because I'm not too sure about my head on that side of things, but we'll figure it out. Spellbook store is not going to be exceptionally useful for this character. We don't plan on dipping into the spell slinging categories, but oh me oh my, another artifact leather armor? It's tempted to buy the embroidered cloak, something that we can almost guaranteed get a couple extra points of AC out of, but I think I'll roll the dice with the Rand art here, see what we get out of it. Oh right, we don't have remove curse identified yet. Oh wow, our 4-stack was magic mapping. Huh. Our RNG is real wacky this entire game so far. Oh gosh, so it's one of these like 2 stacks or 1 stacks that have remove curse? I really need that. Sir, please. Okay, that 2-stack was teleport. This 2-stack is remove curse? It is. Dang it. Maybe I should have still been read IDing those, saving our identify scrolls for the future, but I'll still take that. I would like to remove our curse, remove that armor, just to put on this pair. What does this one do? It gives our electricity 2 pips of resist negative. Wow. A pip of will resistance, which is absolutely huge, and at the cost of 3 intelligence. Also, I guess plus 3 overall enchantment. So that's a pretty awesome set of leather armor. I did like having the extra slay points, but I think I'd much rather have that array of defensive abilities at our disposal. That is absolutely huge. We already have resist poison and resist electricity on our bad boy here today, which are 2 of the resists that I often find myself in desperate need of in the middle stages of the game. So definitely works out beautifully in that regard. Let's run these bad boys back to a corridor as per usual. Get fighting here. Fight's going on a long time. I wonder when the stuns hit. Oh, there we go. The hit. And so did the pain brand as well, starting to deal damage across all of the kobolds at the end there. Definitely not too snazzy. If you can start the fight off against like a bunch of weaker popcorn enemies, and then by the time you hit the crescendo, get to the tougher ones, it's pretty wicked stuff. There we go. Not quite up to max PD in that fight. I'm trying to keep an eye on the stars up in the top right, just to see when we're able to do an instant give kill. Bees can be scary, 100% agree. If I didn't have resist poison, that entire encounter would have been another prolonged 5 to 10 minutes of me on a frozen screen, humming and hawing over our options. But if you're, I guess, both in a corridor and you have resist poison, those are the only times that I'm not completely crapping my pants when I see bees in this game. So otherwise, yeah, the horde will surround you and hold you in place and poison the ever-living crap out of you. Hey, Brain been lurking while playing D&D. Oh, very cool. Hope you were having a great session. I guess, hope you are having. Not sure where you're at now, but regardless, hope you're enjoying it. It's characters thriving in the grand world. Seen several halfling splats, but this one doing okay. Yeah, we had a really rough start, but Hal here has managed to beat the odds. Not in the terms of getting a luckier run, but just in getting slightly luckier dice rolls and surviving all these crazy experiences. We actually just finished a minute ago running back up to D2 and clearing that for the first time because our D2 had 2 different null packs, 5 pole arms in the whole mix of the deal. Just ridiculous stuff. But hey, no complaints because we are alive and kicking, making our way on through still, at the very least. It's all one can ask for in this great dungeon life. There we go, let's switch our stairs, make sure we get away from that ogre. Jeez, just after we are talking about some of our early problems, we are starting to run into all of the early game, I guess early mid-game. Where do you like place all the distinction levels throughout the course of a run here? But the early mid-game threats at the very least. This game constantly reminds you how little time it can take to go completely wrong, very much so. Yeah, I think it's a good reminder of the effects of things like hubris and stuff like that, because you very much can start to feel completely comfortable with your position and things can go real south real quick for sure. Let's split up some of these enemies into a thinner corridor. Okay, yeah, that paralyze is a super short window, so I think that we may want to increase invocations, and that might extend the period of paralyze there. And yes, Safid mentioning confuse at 23%, even with the will armor. Yep, absolutely absurd. That's why we run away from Erica and a centaur hanging out together. Okay, that's the stairway we just did, or that's the one with Erica, that is. This is the one we just did. Perfect. Happily and gladly head back down here one more time. Try not to make this stairway too dangerous to go down, because at the present time it's our only egress point to this ridiculous floor. Let's use a Curari dart on Grum as well. Kind of ensure the fight goes our way. Love to see it. There we go. Now that we've managed to at least enter the floor, we should be able to split up some of these enemies a little bit. The ogre is really not too bad, now that I think about it. So that's probably where we go first here. Oh, hello, sir. Yeah, we'll make sure to use our sling bullets, the tougher ammo on the tougher boy. Perfect. Ogre down. Jeez, hello, centaur. I wouldn't mind you seeing me. There we go. Crap. Oh, I didn't want the white coming up from behind, but the centaur, we were at a good corner to just hide behind at the very least. And whites aren't as dangerous as they otherwise might be, just by the fact that we have these 2 pips of RN from our armor. Pretty solid. Let's again switch to our sling for Scorpion. Any of these poison buddies we're going to be taking pretty seriously. The start here. Perfect. There we go. We've fully made our ingress here. Still have to be on the lookout for Erica. I'm hoping that might have been the same centaur. Oh, hey, Erica. I wasn't looking out for you very well. Spent an entire turn just walking around. Oops. But okay, I still think we can take you. If she goes invisible, that sucks for us. But barring that, and even with that, if we can hit her with a few Curari darts, maybe? Let's take a look there. Did even one of those hit her? I think we missed with both Curari darts, so she's not poisoned or slowed. Cool, cool, cool. I'm just gonna run away then. We cannot deal with this invisible lady. And as we are running away, we fall into a shaft. Oh, what luck, what fun. But fortunately, nothing too scary upon our falling through the ceiling in a cloud of rubble and dirt. We could also immediately pop up here, but if that's next to Erica, not sure how much I love that. Maybe we'll keep that as an escape route on this floor, but we can start exploring D9. We're not quite in the truly dangerous floors of the dungeon yet. Also, screw the troll though. I did kind of miss this stairway as we rushed by it in a quick panic there. That's somewhere safe to peek up again. Let's maybe try and find Erica. Okay, first howler monkeys are gonna have to go. Yes, they might make our job a little bit easier. Call Erica to us. Definitely calling quite a bit of attention otherwise. But again, ogres shouldn't be too bad at this point. Attack real fast with our dagger speed here. Faster than twice the turn even now. Not too shabby. Dang, I was hoping to take out the trident white a little bit quicker, but that's fine. Fortunately, again, with the RN, they're not dealing a whole lot of damage, even with those +3 damage. Or +3 weapons, I should say. There we go. Really starting to find our stride here, reach the point of the game where we're auto-fighting through all the encounters with Tab. Pretty much, at least. There she is. Okay, Erica round 2. Hopefully, you don't go invisible this time? That'd be cool. Okay, we did hit her once with Curari too. We've hit her twice with Curari, so let's run up, try and hurt her enough that even if she goes invisible, the poison finishes the job. That's kind of my whole goal here. Hey, that works. Fight until we paralyze everyone. Perfect. Bada boom, bada bang. Not too shabby. Another unique down to the blade of Hal here. Let's take another quick peek at our skills after a long break because we're ever so close to getting that slings up there. I might even focus that for the last point too. And that way we can start training up a bit of invocations. See if that helps us showcase just a little bit more of what Uskaya has in store for us. Down we go to the depths. We still haven't found Lair, I guess, Lair or Orc at this stage. So hopefully we run into Lair on this floor of the dungeon. I'm always desperately hoping that we won't have to drop down into the D10, D11 ranges for our first branch expeditions, I guess, is what we were going for there in the head. But ooh, another artifact armor as well. Ringmail is a wee bit heavy for us. I guess we don't have horrible strength at 13. Not too shabby. Can maybe even see just how much of an effect this has on our evasion. Encumbrance rating of 7 versus 4. We go from 15 evasion down to 13. And to what gain? Gaining int +4. Not great. We're never really going to be spellcasting. +4 ring mail is not too shabby, don't get me wrong. It is an increase of 3 AC overall. But I think we'll stick to the leather armor of Bayet for now. Good old faithful. Plus we do look good in a red outfit, so no complaints there. Also, let's not fight the troll in head-to-head combat. Me, what are we doing? In fact, Curari is probably a fantastic use here. Can get some distance from the troll and then switch over to our ranged weapon that I should have been using to fight this buddy from the beginning here. That's much safer at the very least. Maybe we'll get another Curare going here. Fortunately missed there. There we go. Regain our distance. And back to sling bullets once more. And this should do the trick now. Perfect. Nice chunk of experience. If we didn't already have really good artifact armor, troll leather armor would be a a standout get at this stage, but as is, I think we should be all right there. Also for the Phantom, we'll definitely switch to stones and just use our sling this time around. We're actually almost at the stage where I can probably start using the sling for everything. How quickly do we attack? Down to 0.6, which I'm soon min delay indeed. So that's definitely not too shabby. I do love my dagger of speed though. Let's see. Ice beasts always take a few hits. Maybe that wasn't the best indication for the character here. In general, when you play as a character that uses weaker weapons, like slings and daggers and stuff, definitely changes the pacing of the game just in terms of how long each encounter takes, even against enemies with fairly base level ACs like this. The furthest extent of the phenomenon that I'm thinking of right now is specifically if you try and like go into a fight with an orb of fire using a dagger, but you're playing, you know, as a pretty sustain heavy character, so you're not worried about dying at all, then that fight can just last for like 50 turns. You can have malmutations coming out every which way just because you deal such little damage, but you're also in a safe place. Most often for me, that's been because I've taken like an anti-magic dagger into an Orb of Fire fight. Because as long as you get rid of their spellcasting ability, they completely lose all their efficacy as a fighter. Perfect. Getting a couple stuns out of that fight all in all. Definitely much needed as too. Oh, just really bailing on Sane as well for the second time in a row there. And I'm sure it was so smooth that no viewers could have possibly noticed that. So smooth and perfect segue. I hate when I do that because I am so often avoiding using words the second time in short succession because I don't like the way that it sounds to my ear. It grates me a bit. But it definitely doesn't exactly solve the problem if I start stumbling my way through the fix, now does it? But fortunately, I've also fully come to terms with my body's decision to just occasionally fully give up on speech and trying to convey actual words. Sometimes just fully self-destructs internally, and that's fine. Okie dokie. This bear is scarier than the first one we fought, oddly enough. Would have expected to go through a bit smoother, but unfortunately, yeah, this one will have to fight an enraged bear as a teeny tiny halfling. Helmet, Savidas? Was it a magical helmet? I guess regardless, I should pick it up even just for style reasons. I kind of like the current helmet, but something colorful could change my mind. Oh wow, it's like the same helmet, but gold. Thanks for mentioning it, Safid. Went back, found a beautiful helmet here. I know, I guess it's kind of a, almost like a stereotypical Viking dual horn helmet, maybe is what it's trying to represent. Not my favorite aesthetic for a helmet. I do like the winged ones, but I can't say no to the gold, especially when it matches the highlights on the leather armor. Fashion Souls is the only way to play. Oh, you know it. Full agreement there. And I was satisfied in one of our previous runs. We went through most of the run in pretty crappy outfits, and it was super fitting that our wardrobe choices fit the narrative of our journey, because by the end of it, and by the time we escaped with the Orb of Zot, everything had become color-coded in like black and gold, and it looked gorgeous. You got to see it in full detail as I made all the thumbnails for that series, and got to see my little boy progressing through the journey. Normally you only get that kind of satisfaction in like a movie because the wardrobe is very much specifically chosen to reflect the narrative adventures of the characters. Okie dokie. What is the best way to deal with this? The main issue is that two-headed ogre in the back. Ice Beast, I'm fine to just keep running from like this. Here's what I should do, actually. Bring the Ice Beast upstairs with me. There we go. And now we can just switch to another stairs and re-engage that two-headed ogre without having to be even that just like a single space away. Ideally, we'd like to be a full 7. Full sight range away from those bad boys. Make sure I'm not missing anything. And there he is. Okay. Guess there they are. Probably going to resort to a similar build as with the troll. Use a mix of Curari slowing abilities. I think that makes sense. I'm worried that even a single combination of hits from this pair of... Are they siblings? Gets kind of wacky when you have two-headed animals in this. We went through this, actually, the other day or a while back, when we were fighting some hydras. We went through a similar discussion about how best to concuss a hydra. If their cognition is all centered in a single head, or if it's evenly split exactly between all of them. Similar questions for the two-headed ogre, but stack on top, is the two-headed ogre 2 entities? I feel like a lot of the two-headed ogres I've seen in fiction have had separate personalities for the heads. And so would that make them siblings? It would kind of makes sense. I guess that's the best distinction you're gonna get. It's the closest analogy in humans, like Siamese twins, or is that... I don't want to be insulting to Siamese twins and dehumanize that aspect or that condition. So I definitely don't intend it that way, but yes, they've been mentioning typically they talk to each other, right? Which implies a split intelligence, split sentience at the very least. So the questions I constantly find myself asking, the important hard-hitting journalism of the fantasy realm. Not too bad. Finally managed to take care of the tougher buddies that had us running around the floor with our tail between our legs for the majority of it there. Out the other side into daylight. Ooh, Spriggan Baker. Essentially our arch nemesis right now. The Spriggan versus Halfling debate is a long and storied conflict, I'm sure. But not too shabby. Finally up to a pretty hefty number of potions and scrolls overall. We also at some point there in the meantime where things have been going smoothly, we found some potions of haste, which I feel must mean that we saw a creature drink these at some point. That's usually how you identify them in advance at the very least. But I'll definitely take that, and I'd also love to identify both this sword, not too bad, and also the stack of 6 potions, because if those are heal wounds, that is huge. Absolute lifesaver to have that identified. So they dropped hobbits for what? Do you mean the nomenclature, or why they in the trunk version of this game they got rid of halflings? Because if it's the second, then I believe they just the developers weren't a huge fan of where halflings were at. Their only real truly distinctive thing is their mutation resistance. But I mean, I've always liked them. They've been up there with me with kobolds, because there's an entire phase of my early DCSS career, as it were, where I would consistently run small species berserkers. So it was mostly Spriggan berserkers, kobold berserkers, and halfling berserkers, and just trying to do like a crazy evasion-based blood curdling or blood-curdling, screaming monstrosity. Jeez. Again, brain is falling apart the second I try and make a cohesive sentence there, but no, they are a small part of why I committed to this version of the game for my attempts to win with every character instead of Trunk. Just because I've always had a soft spot for the halfling buddies here. Jeez. So yeah, gargoyles have extremely high AC. So this is kind of what we were talking about earlier, where we're going to be struggling to put dents in this stone buddy. But I guess the flip side of that is if we can use an acid wand. Dang, didn't get the corrosion effect, so maybe we'll do one more. One, I don't have that many acid charges. Don't embarrass me in front of my friends. Okay. Turns out we just killed the gargoyle, but that's fine. That works as well. What I was going for there was just giving them the corrode effect, getting rid of some of that AC, and then maybe poking some holes that way, but whatever works. Maybe elect knife him down. Does that work out? Because I know player gargoyles are resistant to electricity. But is it still better than the speed in that regard, even with the resistance maybe? Also, I don't know why I got myself completely surrounded here, but at the very least they're all in melee range, so it should be doable. And in fact it is, especially with a little helping hand from Muskaya there at the end. Any rings in the shop? Maybe luck into slaying? Did I see it was just the bookshop, was it not? Yes, indeed. I don't believe any of our rings, or our shops so far. Oops. Oh gosh. What have I done? There we go. Is there any way for me to read these? I was hoping to check contents of the store, but I guess the other way to do that is just to look up a ring instead. No, nothing for sale. We do have a couple in our inventory that I've been completely neglecting though, because I'm a fool. Let's check these out, shall we? Starting with the Hookleg here. Another negative to intelligence. Again, not a huge deal. I don't really plan on casting spells. It brings us down to a total intelligence of 2. So not the most brilliant of halflings, Hal here, but by God, he's lucky he's pretty. That's all I'll say about that. But RF, RC, Dex +3, and Stealth Pip, that's all pretty incredible stuff. So I will almost definitely stick to that, buddy. And then let's check out maybe this other ring, a -4 ring of evasion. Oof, that's rough stuff. What else do we have at our disposal? I'm trying to remember if amulets of faith do anything with Uskaya. I think they do work and that they're actually pretty good. They might make the ramp faster. So I think I'm willing to try on these random necklaces. If we get faith, we'll at least try it out. Ideal situation, it does nothing and we can just switch it off and take it off. Even if it does something and isn't that great, worth testing at the very least here. Ooh, Amulet of Acrobat. So with that we can actually get some pretty ridiculous evasion going. Get an evasion score of 30 when we're not currently attacking enemies. We can get some ambient damage source. That could be absolutely incredible. I think I'll take that, even just so that running away gets a bit easier. And see if it mentions one more int than you need. Yeah, twice as smart as we have to be, really. I'm sure that's how Hal thinks of it as well. Okie dokie. Cyclops. Rough stuff, but that's fine because I shouldn't even be there. Instead, let's head back up to D10 here to where the floor or the stairs for Lair was. We can embark down that way. Kind of forgot where we were at in the dungeon, and D11 is where some of those scarier monsters can show up. Yeah, that Cyclops just having our health in one go, not exactly what we're looking for at this stage in the game. So let's pivot a bit, try and raise our experience. I'm curious where this shield puts us now. Let's put it on. We lose 1 evasion. I wonder how our attack speed. We attack at speed of 0.3 with the bigger shield. Attack speed stays the same, so I think I am going to switch to the larger shield here, give us a bit more shield score, as well as another pip of RNs. Now we're fully resistant to negative energy, nothing but optimistic thoughts, good vibes only for Hal here. And let's head down into Lair and see how she goes. I think I can switch to just plain old stones for moccasin. Not too shabby. First spellbook that we probably won't use. See though. At least take a peek in. Transmutation. I'm trying to. There are a few of these spell schools. There we go. That we're not too bad at. Transmutations is not one of those. Translocations is the one that we're actually not horrible at. So if we find Blink in a book, we definitely might want to pick that up and throw in the little bit of experience we need just to get an escape option up and running. Okie dokie, our first shaft of Lair here. It seems to be a bit of a tradition on the last couple runs for us to get shafted in this part of the game. Honestly, just going down one floor is not too bad whatsoever. And in fact, there we are, already finding our way back up to the floor we were on. And would you look at that, it is also time to do our first inventory clear. Woohoo! So let's go through dropping some of our old crap that we don't need. And, a wand of random effects, that can probably go too. Very cool. Also regaining some of those spent acid wand charges, so that should be a lifesaver against a potential high AC opponent in our future. First Komodo dragon fight. We'll have to see how it goes. I'm a little bit scared for the first time we get hit. But hey, we're dodging. There we go. First time we get hit is absolutely as brutal as I expected it to be. Also, Skya, we're not that close to hitting the next level here, or paralyzing the Komodo dragon, as it were. Also, hey, we were just talking about you earlier, buddy. Fortunately, the game has not coded the corrosive spit of a Komodo dragon in, so that's nice. Up to 34 damage? Okay. Can't die in one hit. Let's give it a shot, shall we? Switch over to sling bullets. We also use the wand of acid there to lower its AC. Perfect. Make sure we get that buddy going down in just a couple of hits. Scary stuff. Yaks. We'll see how we do against our very first standard yak herd. Don't like how slowly we kill the first one. I think this dagger of speed is very much hitting its current capping point, as it were. This is about the stage in the game where you really do want to be switching to something like a rapier. I mean, a quick blade, you'd be crazy lucky to find one at this stage in the game, but if it was an option, of course. So as is, that makes things kind of tricky. We could do a bit of a pivot up into long blades. We have a skill up to 5, so even if we like put on this sword for now and give it a swing, we're almost attacking once per turn. That's not horrible. Might have to keep that sword in mind for some of the tougher enemies at the very least. We'll see how she goes. Because ideally, if we just run into a bunch of like moccasins and standard frogs, no spiny frogs, no Komodo dragons, none of that nonsense, we could just maybe be happy. But unfortunately, 'tis not the case. We'll switch over to our sling bullets and see if that is enough to do the trick against a spiny toad. It's looking a bit dicey, unfortunately. Resorting to our acid wand, a couple blasts of that buddy to take out the cane toad in the end. Definitely a good reminder of how much trouble we could get ourselves into in short order here. Nurgle, I mean, normally your stuff is draining, and we do have a whole lot of RN right now, so don't mind the fight there. Yeah, let's bring you kids up into the hallway here. Nurgle's probably going to start taking out that bush. But ideally, hey, we'll get the paralyzed right as we get through the Drake, is what I was going to mention there. And it worked absolutely ideally. Getting the backstabs just in the perfect timely fashion. There we go. And that should be, oh, not quite, but just about all of Lair 2. Through and through. I know, only a little bit scary. Only shaking in my boots a tiny bit for the thought of running into another Komodo dragon, but I'm sure we'll be fine. Ain't no thing. Please don't put me to sleep, Dream Sheep. I'm just trying to split up the group. Very cool. Here we go. Much better. Even though if we get put to sleep now, I still might be dead. We lose all of our ability to dodge when we're petrified or put to sleep, which is a huge deal for this character. So we definitely need to be on the lookout for that. Oh, geez. Nose is suddenly very, very itchy. Makes sense. Just looking around, there's way too much dust in this room. I'm overdue for a bit of a cleaning here. Oh me, oh my. What a batch of snakes we find ourselves in the middle of. I'm gonna retreat with just 3 on me, and is there anywhere nearby for me to thin out this crowd? Not really. How much bulk do you think 300 stones is? Same as a suit of plate, according to the game. That's an interesting thought. Depends on how big the stones are, don't it? Because yeah, even in general though, are we talking, because stones is a legitimate unit of measurement, right? Definitely looked up this conversion before, but off the top of my head, I have no clue where exactly it stands. But geez Louise. Oh, there, Failfink coming in for the rescue with the stone is 14 kg, but yeah, and then also saying, oh, you meant sling stones, and I think, yeah, it's probably correct that Safed was talking about the stones themselves here. In which case, it does depend, I guess, on how big it was. Maybe I wasn't being as much of a smartass with my first answer as I thought. And I gotta say, I think 300 stones would be heavier than a suit of plate. Failfink mentioning a field plate is around 30 to 35 kilograms. Right? Because I feel like I could wear a suit of plate. I don't think I could wear the collected weight of 300 stones all over my body. Depending on the size, density, so many factors, of course. You know, these igneous rocks, metamorphic, what are we spouting here? But in general, rocks are just so heavy, and if we add in the fact that it's probably a bit unwieldy to carry 300 stones, I think that the awkwardness probably plays into it a decent amount too, right? I spent a couple summers helping my parents build a cool like foundation around their house. We went out to a huge stone field with a trailer, a friend of mine and I, and we just fill the trailer with rocks. There we were looking for bigger rocks, the bigger the better, so not exactly just little stones. But it was hard work, and it's crazy the way that weight densities work in some of those rocks. Like you can find just a solid like coconut size, and not even a big coconut, that's a fairly small coconut, and yet they can weigh equal to or more than full like shelf rocks just based on the makeup there. But that is all just to say that I might have a bit of an internal bias against rocks in the question of are they heavy, because in my mind exceptionally so indeed. Field plate doesn't feel very heavy because the weight is so well distributed. Very true. Yeah. Don't get the awkwardness that we were talking about. And you've seen a mate of yours do handstands in field plate? That's very cool. What a sight, hey? Not something you expect to run into in life. A full suit of armor. Oriented upside down. Absolutely love it. And so 300 sling stones is around 40 pounds, according to the internet. Holy cow, really? That surprises me. But I guess sling stones. I'm curious, is the ideal stone for sling not too lightweight, because you need it to be able to fly through the air without getting caught up by drag too much. But definitely you want it to be light enough to get good momentum going, be able to fire off multiple shots, things like that. It does make sense, I guess, thinking about it a bit more in what the kind of ideal sling stone might be. Field think correcting or doing the unit conversion on the field plate to 65 to 70 pounds. Yeah, no, that's why it's very shocking that the stones are so light. Each sling stone is about 60 grams. Whatever a gram is, I'm from Freedom Land. Well, thank you for the rest of us here for putting that into real life units. But yeah, no, that's shocking. That's a pretty light stone there. I wonder what the cusp would be on wind resistance for an object of that size. I could do some really crappy, very rudimentary calculations on that. I feel like I've done that for a theoretical stone on an assignment before, but that's very cool. I learn something new all the time. Today it was sling stones and some of the basic properties of them. The only things or stones that I've ever used in slings are a mismatch of pebbles pulled from the rocky driveway. Jeez Louise, Blinky Frogs, pain in the butt. Fortunately, with a ranged character, we can at least stand here and just hold down tab for the most part, those bad boys. They're not round, they're lemon shaped, probably for wind resistance. That definitely makes sense. Want them to both avoid getting caught by wind resistance, but also if they can cut through the wind, it will also add to your range as well, because you can get like some nice current flow underneath the bullet, keep it flowing pretty straight through the air. That's definitely fascinating stuff. Oh my gosh, fall into another shaft. Just finding every shaft in the whole game here. I mean, I guess we were talking about How's Luck earlier, so it's only fitting for that to continue here. Switch to our Dagger of Speed and see how that does. Not fantastic. If there are any other enemies around, I'd be scared, but funnily enough, you have worked as a weaponsmith, but you've never even seen a sling stone. Makes sense. I'm curious, yeah. I mean, there probably are fancy metal, like steel sling stones that people use nowadays, but historically, it would be more of a masonry thing, potentially. Curious. Safe at mentioning, yeah, but I guess the sling was the original ranged weapon, definitely. Yeah, a lot of time to be refined, and a lot of different people and places have used it over the millennium, for sure.